Welcome back. We're at Chapter 9, and we have our final DVD, and then everything's going to go rather quickly. So just hang on. We'll be right back.
You can do this job two ways. You can do it with an iron fist and have everyone dreading the minute you show up on their doorstep. Or you can be collaborative and work with your managers, your owner-operators to get better results. I gotta say, as a health inspector, I'm all about getting the best results possible, so I prefer the second method. I cover a lot of different operations all over the county. Hospitals, school cafeterias, big chains, mom and pop restaurants, fine dining, you name it. I even have an amusement park. Anyway, I have managed to build good working relationships with all those operations. In fact, over the last 6 years I've been on the job, I have not had a single closure or a foodborne illness outbreak on my watch. I'm proud of that, but I didn't do it alone. And I'm proud of that too. The bottom line is, we all have to work together to keep customers safe and serve safe food. Okay, time to go to work. It all starts with sanitary facilities and equipment. That's basic. That's fundamental. Without sanitary facilities and equipment, you're undermining all your other food safety practices. Besides that, keeping your establishment clean and sanitary will help prevent food from becoming contaminated. It also helps prevent another potential source of contamination from thriving in your establishment: pests. Accomplishing this and doing it right takes a lot of thought and planning. So here's what you need to know. You have to know exactly what's meant by the term sanitary equipment and facilities. Then you have to fully understand the process of cleaning and sanitizing. And you have to know about integrated pest management. A well-designed facility has been planned out so that both the building and all the equipment can be kept clean and in good repair. This makes it easier to keep food safe. Generally speaking, if a kitchen has been efficiently designed, you'll have a more sanitary facility. And a well-designed kitchen will also address lots of factors, including personal hygiene, workflow, contamination, and equipment accessibility. You should design your workflow plan with 2 key points in mind. First, you have to minimize the amount of time food spends in the temperature danger zone. Your storage areas, for example, should be located near the receiving areas to prevent time and temperature abuse caused by delays in storing food. And your prep tables should be located near refrigerators and freezers for the same reason. The second point that your workflow plan must take into account is minimizing the risk of cross-contamination. Never set up your prep areas in a way that would allow dirty equipment to touch clean equipment or food. A well-planned layout also ensures equipment is easily accessible for cleaning. That means that you make sure your equipment has been set up so it's easy to disassemble and clean around. Now, when you're talking about sanitary equipment at facilities, there's several considerations to keep in mind. Here's what they are. First, you start off with the plan review. Then, You have to think about the materials for interior flooring. You'll have to know the guidelines for hand washing stations and sanitation standards for equipment surfaces. You've also got guidelines to follow on dishwashing machines and the installation and maintenance of kitchen equipment, plus water supply and plumbing considerations, lighting, ventilation, and last but not least, garbage disposal. A plan review is usually required anytime you have new construction or extensive remodeling. The next thing you need to know regarding your facility is which materials are appropriate for use inside your operation. Your most important consideration here is how easy the establishment will be to clean and maintain. It's especially important to choose the right kind of flooring materials. The flooring should be made of a smooth, non-absorbent material that is durable and easy to clean. And this flooring should be used in food prep and storage areas, dishwashing areas, walk-in coolers, dressing and locker rooms, and restrooms. Your plan should include coving. Coving is a curved, sealed edge placed between the floor and the wall to eliminate sharp corners or gaps that would be impossible to clean. The materials for your facility's walls, ceilings, and doors must be smooth, non-absorbent, durable, and easy to clean. You should choose light colors for walls and ceilings, and make sure walls can withstand repeated washing. Hand washing plays a very important role in food safety. That's why your plans should include lots of hand washing stations that are conveniently located, so employees will be encouraged to wash their hands often. Hand washing stations are required in restrooms and need to be located in food preparation, service, and dishwashing areas. Here's what a properly equipped hand washing station needs to have: hot and cold running water, and the temperature of the water must be at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. Soap. Liquid soap is generally preferred because it's easy to use and refill. There should also be something to dry hands. Most local codes require establishments to supply disposable paper towels in hand washing stations. You may want to consider installing a warm air dryer to provide an alternate method for drying hands if paper towels run out. But common cloth towels are not permitted because they can transmit contaminants from one person's hands to another. Hand washing stations should also have a waste container if disposable paper towels are provided. You should also post signs that say that employees are required to wash hands before returning to work. When you're buying equipment for your place, make sure it's been designed with sanitation in mind. All equipment with food contact surfaces must be safe, durable, corrosion resistant, non-absorbent, sufficient in weight and thickness to withstand repeated cleaning, and smooth and easy to clean. They also have to be resistant to pitting, chipping, decomposition, scratching, scoring, distortion, and crazing. You know, those fine spider cracks. And any equipment that's exposed to splashing, spillage, or other food soiling needs to be constructed of smooth, non-absorbent, corrosion-resistant material. And the same goes for any surface that would require frequent cleaning. The surface of the equipment should be free of unnecessary ledges, projections, and crevices. It should also be designed and constructed to allow easy cleaning and maintenance. Organizations like NSF International and Underwriters Laboratories have helped simplify the task of choosing equipment designed for sanitation. All you have to do is look for the NSF International mark or the UL Environmental and Public Health Product mark on food service equipment. When you see either of those symbols, it means that the equipment has met sanitary standards and is acceptable for food service use. Now, when you're selecting and installing dishwashing machines, you should follow these guidelines. The machine must be raised at least 6 inches or 15 centimeters off the floor so you can clean underneath them easily. Key information about using the machine should be posted on the dishwasher. This information includes proper water temperature, conveyor speed, and water pressure. Your kitchen equipment should be installed so that both the equipment and the areas surrounding it are easy to clean. Everything should also be serviced regularly to keep it in good working order. Your stationary equipment has to be mounted on legs at least 6 inches or 15 centimeters off the floor. Or you could also seal it to a masonry base. Stationary tabletop equipment should be mounted on legs that provide a minimum clearance of 4 inches or 10 centimeters between the base of the equipment and the tabletop. Otherwise, the equipment should be sealed to the tabletop, and any gaps between equipment and surrounding countertops and walls must also be sealed. You also have to make sure you're using safe water for cooking, cleaning, and hand washing. Water that's safe to drink is called potable water. Sources of potable water include approved public water mains and private water sources, such as a well, that are regularly maintained and tested. Other sources include closed portable water containers and water transport vehicles. If your operation uses a well, you should check with your local regulatory authority for information on inspections, testing, and other requirements. Generally, wells must be tested at least once a year, and the test reports kept on file. Now, the greatest challenge to water safety is a matter of plumbing, particularly cross connections and backflow. A cross connection is a physical link through which contaminants from drains, sewers, or other wastewater sources can enter the water supply. A running faucet located below the flood rim of a sink or a running hose in a mop bucket are examples of cross connections. A cross connection is dangerous because it allows the possibility of backflow, which is the unwanted reverse flow of contaminants into a potable water system. Backflow can occur whenever the pressure in the potable water supply drops below the pressure of the contaminated supply. There are several methods to prevent backflow. For example, you can install vacuum breakers on faucets. But the only completely reliable method for preventing backflow is to create an air gap. This is an airspace that separates a water supply outlet from any potentially contaminated source. A properly designed and installed sink typically has 2 air gaps to prevent backflow. One is the airspace between the faucet and the flood rim of the sink. The other is located between the drain pipe of the sink and the floor drain of the establishment. Now, grease traps are often installed to prevent a grease buildup from creating a drain blockage. These traps should be regularly maintained to allow for proper functioning. Because the plumbing on grease traps can also pose a contamination risk, make sure that only licensed plumbers install and maintain those pipes. Another possible plumbing problem, and a dangerous one, can be caused by sewage. Sewage and wastewater are contaminated with pathogens, soils, and chemicals, and it's absolutely essential to prevent them from contaminating food or food contact surfaces. If raw sewage backs up in your operation, close the affected area right away. Then fix the problem and thoroughly clean the area. Sewage is obviously a source of contamination, but a lot of people are surprised to learn that lighting fixtures also pose contamination risks. That's because shattered light bulbs can contaminate food and food contact surfaces. To prevent that kind of contamination, you should use shatter-resistant light bulbs, or put protective covers made of metal mesh or plastic over your fixtures. Here's something you may not know. There are requirements that specify the minimum level of light necessary in each area of your operation.
We'll be right back with Chapter 8, Part 2.